Hi everyone, and welcome back to Exehaven Harbour. Really, I've been doing a lot, but there's not much to show for it. A lot of thinking, a lot of planning, really, and fiddling with stuff just to see how to get this track plan round. And I think I'm there now. I'm quite pleased, and I'll show you that in one of the segments to follow this. I've also been working on my small ship, the RMV Scillonian. Again, it's ongoing, but by golly, it's so fiddly. I'm currently making some of the seats for the deck, and I spent probably an hour one evening getting that one seat sorted out. It's going to be quicker this time because I know where the folds go. But it was very frustrating, but it looks okay. And again, in a minute, I'll show you a picture of or a little bit of the ship as it stands at the moment. It's getting there. Again, you know, everything seems to take ages with it. Like the funnel, it took me probably 2 hours to get that into the position it was after cutting it out, folding it, trying it out, and then sort of gluing it, and then it coming apart again, and then gluing it again, and then it's like, But anyway, we're getting there, and it is slow progress, but like I say, a lot of it has been thinking about what I'm going to do, planning, because I have this rough idea of the track plan. I think I showed you in a previous episode how it goes. It's kind of like a figure of eight almost, but it doesn't look like a figure of eight. But to try and fit that in, I never knew, with all the gradients and where I wanted the track to run, quite how that was going to work. So I'll show you where I've got to. I'm very pleased with what I've done because, like I say, I think it's all going to work. So fingers crossed, although next time you'll see me, you might see me with my head in my hands going, plan B. But anyway, for now, that's it for this segment. I'll switch off and we'll go and have a look at the boat. Right, well, there she is in all her glory. As I say, on the way to being completed, but I think it's probably going to take me another good week at least to finish off the other bits and pieces for the deck and so on. Then I've got some rigging to do, and I'm not kidding you, some of the stuff that's got to be cut out now is pretty small. It has been difficult, and I think, well, I definitely did. I showed you that I'd made a mistake, and of course, then I recut everything out, which has worked pretty well. I'm quite pleased with that. But it's always a risk doing that when you're making these ships, because, and it's a bit like the scow scenes, if you use the wrong size or wrong thickness card, it's not going to work. But fortunately for me, it just about did, and I'm pretty pleased with how that looks. And although it is slightly out of scale, it's 1 to 250, so 250 times smaller than the actual thing, so an end gauge is 148. So it is a bit out, but as I've discussed before, getting ships of the right size is very difficult. But I think sort of at a distance and perhaps running out of the harbour, you're not going to notice this. And I've got another couple of ships to build, and I'll see how they fit actually on the layout. One I'll definitely be using. Another one might be a bit too big, to be honest, so we'll wait and see. But I may have said before, it is a real pleasure for me to build these ships. I really enjoy that in the evening. Nothing on the telly, let's build a ship. Anyway, that's how we stand with that. That's a flyby. And, you know, that would be her coming in from the Scilly Isles, and we'll be coming into the harbour to dock and drop off the Royal Mail and take on more supplies for the Scilly Isles themselves, and some passengers, of course. So there we go, that's how that looks. Right, now last time you saw me had the jury rigged track laid and some trains running. Well, that's all up now, because kind of a recap for you, down this end, this is where Budleigh Regis terminus station is going to be, like the end of the Southern Region branch. I'm hoping it's roughly going to be based around Sidmouth Station, which, you know, I'm really looking forward to actually getting to that stage, actually modelling stuff. Right, so this is where we got, I think you're quite familiar with this section with the bridge over there, and I think last time we got all the way round here, and I think I had a section just put over this bit, just so that I could have the trains running around and test that gradient up and out, and thankfully it was quite successful. Now this bit in the middle, the River Exe is actually going to flow into this, what we should say is like an inlet from the sea, which is where the harbour is. And you know, in my imaginary world, it's a deep water harbour, natural, and the boats will just come in. You know, beyond the bridge is the sea basically. So this will be where we're standing. This gap in the middle where I stand is technically the sea, or the inlet, and this is where the River Exe will actually flow out into the inlet and then out, obviously out to the sea. Now I've been looking around at various different types of bridges. There's a couple that I like at End Scenic, but bearing in mind I'm going to have two bridges here, one at the back there where the gap is now. It won't be as wide as that, but I've got to determine quite how wide the river's going to be. And then there'll be another bridge in front, or two bridges actually. There'll be a road bridge and a rail bridge. So I think what I might do at the back is actually attempt to build one myself, which will be interesting. I've got a kind of plan for one in my head. Everything's in my head, and I'm going to have to get it down on some paper soon, otherwise I will forget, because I'm very forgetful these days. It's amazing. My sharp old brain is nowhere near as sharp as it once was. Yeah, so it won't be quite as wide as that. I think if I come in a bit closer, you could see where I've initially marked out the river. I want it a bit wider than that, to be honest. So we'll see. Strangely enough, I was having a cup of tea earlier. I watched one of these cab rides in Switzerland, and there was a lovely bridge come viaduct that they went over, and I thought, you know what, that would look really nice. So it got my juices flowing a little bit, so we'll see, but that's a future project. Okay, so moving on, I think we had this little bit around here. This was the last section that I had, which got to there. Now this is all new from there on in. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is take you in to Exehaven Harbour station. So that'll curve round and curve in again, and hopefully I can give you some, and I think this is going to look lovely once it's all scenic up in the future. I can't wait to see what it actually looks like and what I can do with it. It'll sort of come down on a gentle curve and a nice slow sort of S-bend into this area, which will be the station. Now all I've done for now is plan where the platforms are going to be, and there's going to be two through tracks. These lines here denote the through tracks. They're sort of the middle of each line. I've measured it out. It doesn't need to be perfect at the moment, but I know that the measurements will fit. And then we'll have two platforms, and either side of the two main rails there'll be, where's my finger, one running along here and then one running along the back there. There'll be terminus platforms, so you know, in effect, trains coming in from London, fast boat trains, and from trains from up north, perhaps even sleeper trains, overnight trains from Edinburgh, Glasgow, maybe even Aberdeen, coming down and making it for the next sailing to Lisbon, New York, wherever the next ship comes in, but whatever. So that's how the station's going to be. It's going to be a bit raised. It's a little bit higher than I originally thought that I wanted it, but after doing this, it's actually worked out really well, and that's how it's going to be. And then this is the sweep as it comes out of the station. Now this will go up on what will be a sort of rather large rocky outcrop which will run over to the other side there, which is Exham Bay, and this piece of track will cut in to the cliff, and perhaps there'll be a couple of little small tunnels as there's outcrops and so on. You know, again, it's a future thing and I can't wait to get there. But the upshot of that being a little bit taller than what I had initially expected, because I've lessened the gradient round there, it's worked out really well for when it comes back up. It will come round there, like I say, it will cut into that rocky outcrop, come round, more rocky outcrop here, and there'll be the second harbour bridge coming over here. So I've got another one of those girder bridges, and that will sit in front of that, and then this piece of track will come round here and come across the River Exe into Exehaven town, and there will be a station there. It'll be a 4 coach plus an engine long platform in there. I've worked out I can get that in, so that'd be interesting. Again, that's probably the next big part of this, planning the track bed really. But like I say, the Exehaven Harbour station being a little bit higher than I thought, well, it actually pays dividends, because that will come up at a lovely gradient and meet up with the right height for the bridge there. So very pleased with how that worked. So panning back again, obviously difficult to tell what's in my head and explaining really, but there will be like a big rocky outcrop, like I say, which will run from basically where that curve is right across and right across into that corner there probably, and we'll see how that works. Now the other thing which was tricky, I've got to say, is because I want obviously there to be some sort of freight terminal here. So what I've had to do in the end, because I thought I might be able to just run that down in front of the harbour, in front of Exehaven Harbour station, what I've done is actually taken a spur off of there. This will be a single track line which will run along here at the back of the station. A lot of it will be covered because there'll be roadways and goodness knows what, the station building and everything. And then it will dive under the track, under there, come out there. This bit here, there's my finger, will be, this bit across here will be filled with some more MDF as time goes on. But I just wanted to plan the track in, and as that single track comes in, it can split with a point there, and it will split into this area, which will become the freight area. So freight trains will come in across from all over the country, deliver the goods, and I'm planning to scratch build a couple of large warehouses where the trains will pull in, unload, and then there will be another smaller train as the ships come in to be ready to be taken. They will come again out of the freight area, and on here you'll see this is the track bed, or will be the track bed for the freight, which will run along in front of Exehaven Harbour station, which is below there, and the freight will be loaded onto the different liners, different freighters and so on that I will have on here, and that has worked out quite well. What it does also give me, and I think I spoke about it briefly last time, is while the trains are just running round their loops, I can have some freight operations separate from the main track, so it won't get in the way. And like I say, we can have big freight trains coming in, dropping off their stuff here, and then running it round, like I say, ready for the delivery on board the large ships, ready to go off wherever they may go in the world. Also in front of the freight area, there's room here as well for more dockside activity. And again, I'll work that out. It'll probably be either a freight, or I even thought about a car ferry area. Again, a little bit of working out to do, but there should be enough room on this board to fit that in. Bearing in mind it is N-gauge, so it should be okay. The other thing, this track that runs in front of Exehaven Harbour station, which is the dockside track. There'll be two tracks. The one at the front will be the one with the freight for the ships that are pulled into dock here. This wood is just representing the dock. Let me just take that out of the way for a minute. There is another track at the back which will run just under a lip of the station, which gives us that extra platform, terminus platform. I'm going to make some nice sort of girders and things that come down to look like it's supporting it in a kind of Victorian style. But the track at the front will obviously be embedded in concrete. We'll see how I go about doing that at some point. And the track at the back, I don't know, remember last time I spoke about having a flour mill. Well, this track will be normal track. It will just be running underneath there. Where's my finger going? And it will come out, go round, and wherever the edge of the River Exe is, I'll run the track round to the flour mill. And that will give us another little bit of point of interest where I can run some trains out of there and run some grain trains in, whatever. And we'll work that out as time goes on. And again, I think this track coming in to the freight area could visually be very good. I've got the gradient on it pretty good. I'm quite happy. It's not more than 2.5%, and I don't think it even is 2.5%, to be honest. So I'm hoping most of the trains will run up and down there quite happily. So that's where I've got. So it's coming together, and I hope at some point in the next few weeks that I will have this all completed. I've been going great guns since I've got some more MDF. Once I've got this all sorted out in terms of how the station was going to actually be, how much room I had and so on, and how much room I needed to get the tracks down to where I needed them to be, I think it's worked out okay. I've got some more MDF over there up on the side, and there's plenty of other bits and pieces everywhere. It won't be enough to complete it, but it will be enough to complete the first circuit, definitely, which is what I'm hoping to achieve in the next week, really. Trying to fit everything is difficult, but we're doing it. So that's how we are. Okay, I'll just leave you with a little passing shot of where Exehaven Harbour station will be. And there it is. You've probably all got travel sickness now, or air sickness, as I've swiveled that round, being the trained cameraman that I am. And that's it, that lovely sweep down into the station, and the sweep of the freight line coming in and underneath and into the freight yard. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Kind of a little bit boring because there's not much to show you, and with all good intentions, sometimes I think, oh, I must film what I'm going to do. I never do, because I get involved with 2 or 3 other things at the same time, so it's kind of impossible to do that. So anyway, that's my little update for now. Hopefully we'll speak again soon. I'm really enjoying everybody, how they're doing on their own layouts. It's great stuff, and really enjoying it. And obviously getting inspiration as well along the way. But yeah, keep on doing what you're doing, guys, and thanks very much, and we'll perhaps speak again next week, or maybe a few days after. Although we may not, because I'm meant to be going on holiday to Mallorca. But we're not sure. The flight's been cancelled, but the hotel's still open, so I can't get hold of the holiday company, so we shall wait and see. So it could be a week, or it could be maybe 2. Okay, so we'll speak again soon. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye now.